People don't ask. They buy the house, do what they want, and they just throw stuff on in there for storage.
That's how you would know what the heck is wrong with the house.
Like, I'm checking for everything. I'm checking for the seal, if any moisture can get inside the siding, but you can't like pull it up. And the water's hot.
I'm not the inspector, but I think I know something. Oh, guys, see this?
Like, I can't even get to the back door to check that. I am not allowed to assume. Even though I get a lot of assumptions in the house as far as like stuff I can figure out.
You start making demands like this, they just move on to the next contract.
Personal items being in the property affects the inspection.
You're paying for an inspection, but you're not gonna have as thorough as it could be.
I'm not as comfortable with the camera on me, but that's fine.
There's personal items everywhere, so he's very limited by what he can actually see.
Outside of it being hot and they jump on the stove and they pretty much gonna cook themselves, but it won't fall on them as well.
Right.
They'll just cook themselves. Radar, lead, mold.
You know what? I'm just not gonna be buying this home anymore. Why do you need a home inspection? There are various reasons. Number one, you can use it as a negotiation tool. When you go through a home tour, and you visit the home, you see everything is shiny and beautiful. It could be an older home or it could be a brand new build. You have absolutely no idea what you're dealing with until you have your home inspector. He's the one that's going to be aware of some of the issues that you may not necessarily know about. When you get this information, you can use it as a way to go back to the negotiation table and basically ask the seller to adjust the price if there are a lot of issues, because you have to take into account the expenses that you will be facing in order for you to live in this home. The other reason why you want to make a home inspection is because of safety. You never know the way in which people live. You have no idea what they're basically dealing with in their homes, what they may have fixed, what they may not have fixed, the corners they may have cut, the additions, the installations they may have made with no permits, and sometimes it's done right, sometimes it's not. So when you get to home inspection, you get a better idea and understanding of what's actually happening in the house. I'm going to be showing you and discussing basically what's going on during the home inspection. So guys, this is the gentleman that is going to be conducting the home inspection today, and I will let him introduce himself to you guys.
Hello, I am Frank Bynum, the owner and operator of Inspected By. Inspected By is a home inspection company that provides different home inspection services in the DC and Maryland and DMV area.
Okay, so this is your own company.
It is. This is definitely my own company. I've been doing it for about, I'm in year 4 now.
Wow.
I have an extensive construction background, so I decided to just use that information to create something for myself. Right, so here I am trying to grow it and trying to make it work. But yeah.
Okay. Do you enjoy this job?
I do. I kind of, I would say, I don't see it as a job.
Okay.
What I did previously, I looked at it as that at work, where you get up, you figure out what you do to make your money and things like that. Mm-hmm. But I don't necessarily see this as a job. I see this as an endeavor that I've worked hard to create and develop.
Okay.
Yeah, so I definitely enjoy what I do. Mm-hmm. And this is something that a lot of people would enjoy doing.
Yeah. But
I enjoy what I do. You'd be surprised how many people a home inspector can help.
And where in the DMV do you normally work at?
I'm based in Waldorf, but I work all over. Like, I can have a job in Baltimore. I can have a job in Southern Maryland. I can have a job in Montgomery County. Like, I can have a job in DC. Each day is different. Today we have 2 in Upper Marlboro. I try to establish my work base as more of a closer base to where I live, but they need inspections all over, so I'm available.
Okay.
Let's rock out. So the whole city, the whole state, as of right now, is my work area until I can kind of bring it in a little bit more.
All right. So for those of the people watching who are not familiar, why do I need the home inspection? Why is that important?
If you're buying a property, if you're selling a property, those are a lot of common times where people need home inspections. Of course, for the person that's buying, they don't know what they're buying. They're about to make a big investment. They want to get a professional in to get some eyes on the property, to kind of give them as much information as possible within that small window while they're trying to buy. And the person that's selling, before they put it on the market, they want to have an idea of what issues that may occur that they may have to deal with beforehand, which I think is intelligent, as opposed to not knowing, going through the process, and then they find out it's more issues than what they thought, and then they're having trouble selling the property. So those are just 2 reasons. I'll say tenant inspections, when property managers, property investors, people who have homes or people who flip homes and things like that. They rent out the properties. Depending on the market, it's not a seller's market. Sometimes it's a renter's market.
Right.
But in those situations, I recommend tenant inspections. I recommend 6 months to a year or so to have some type of tenant inspection. What that helps is no different than your warranty or your insurance. You kind of wait for something to go wrong when you use those things. But if you had someone checking on that property every 6 months to a year, it would definitely help keep an eye on the property, keep maintenance up on the property, as opposed to you find out that your tenant been there for a few years and then they moving on and you get in there and you pretty much got to remodel the whole home to get a new tenant in there.
Right.
Tenant inspections help avoid situations like that, as opposed to waiting for something to go wrong and then you just call the insurance company or you call the warranty company and then you have to deal with that situation, which we all know what that can be. It's like that payment during the course of that particular time can save you so much headache, just knowing about the property, knowing how the people are taking care of your property and things like that. So I do quite a bit of tenant inspections also, and I'm ready to roll.
All right, let's do that. All right.
Normally do my inspections. Of course, I'm not as comfortable with the camera on me, but that's fine. Let's get used to it. Let's rock out.
Yeah.
I'm really asking myself about 50 questions every time I look at everything I look at, because there's so many things that I'm looking for. Function of something, if it's something unsafe, if it's installed correctly, how the weather, how the wear and tear of the weather, and we looking at trees, which matters different, the climate, how it beats up on the outside of a house. So it's so many things that I'm looking for at one time, which I try to keep my software helps me stay on track, because normally a home inspection, you don't have but so much time.
Right.
You can't stay in there all day to try to find everything.
Right.
It doesn't work like that. It's a limited amount of time and you got to be in and out within that time. So you kind of want to do as good of a job as possible, a thorough job as possible, because it adds more value to the
Makes
report.
sense. Now, do you normally recommend that somebody buying the house come and follow you step by step as you're doing the inspection, or do you think it's enough for them to just, read your report afterwards?
A lot of inspectors may want to just do their job, stay, and they would rather someone stay out the way so they can focus on the things that I kind of explained in the beginning.
Okay.
Because it can be stressful. And even though we may roll through an inspection fairly smooth, it's really stressful because you don't want to, because as you run it through your checklist, as you run it through your issues, as you run it through the things that you see, the distractions can affect the inspection.
Makes sense.
But the plus side to that is if you were there doing it by yourself and you run through everything, that's one thing. But the plus side to having someone here watching you, or having specifically your client or the client and the realtor watching you doing your job, or there also, is because you can point the things out, explain them right then and there. So when they see it on the report, they already familiar with it. They already understand what's going on, and it helps the process move a little bit smoother. And it gives them more understanding on the process, and give them more understanding on anything I point out in regards to the property, because it's about to be their property. So giving them the more information as possible, it's going to help them, especially the realtor, because they're the ones that's going to take that information. And a lot of times they don't have no more than 3, 5, 7, sometimes maybe 10 days to get the whole process done, from booking inspection to getting inspection done, to scheduling inspection, to having that report sent back in. And for the most part, we guarantee 24-hour service, the whole process.
Okay.
If possible, and when possible, most of the time it's possible.
Yeah.
And no later than 48. To stay within that window, because a lot of times those windows are time consuming. But I would rather someone, it's hit or miss, but I don't mind when people are there watching me work, just simply because it helps me explain things better. So when I send them that report, they are already ready to get that information and move on, and that process is a little bit more smooth.
All right.
So it takes a little bit more time for me to do the inspection, but most of the time it's worth it.
All right, sounds good.
Yeah.
So guys, I'm going to be following him around, and if there's something interesting or important that happens, I'll point it out. All right, so stay tuned. All right, so this is the front of the property. You have a nice, long driveway here, so let's walk around. The good thing about this house is they have absolutely no neighbors on this side, and a lot of people they love the end units, right? Because you have at least this side here where you have no neighbors, nothing to worry about. They have a nice little shed over here. Nice place here for the kids to enjoy, go out there, have a good time, And then you have the backyard, little swing, and the garage. Now, they do have a lot of trees over here. You have this little dog, having a good time. Now they do have a lot of trees over here, but the trees look pretty healthy to me. You know, no major issues. Right? Because sometimes when you have these trees, you have to worry about when it's raining and then the wind blows and then the tree falls on the house. We don't have that problem here. You know, so one thing I always tell clients is like, you know, pay attention to these trees because it can cost you several thousands of dollars, you know what I mean, just to cut them. This one is leaning that way, so if it ever wants to fall, you don't have to worry about that. The shed, you know, water damage on it. Let's get a little bit closer. Even during the home inspection, they will check the sheds as well. They will check everything. Okay, so you can see the shed is a little bit dated. It's been around for a minute. All right. You have a neighbor on this side, in the backyard. And then you have a detached garage. I'm just giving a chance to the home inspector, you know, to figure out some of those things. And, you know, generally people always know the home has a lot of issues. Not necessarily. When it comes to home ownership, it really depends. Like, what kind of owner you have. Just because a home is newer doesn't mean it has less issues than an older home, because some people are really on top of things. They maintain from the roof to everything in the house is well taken care of. And you can have a brand new construction. Depending on how detailed the builder is, the home may actually have a lot of issues. And when you buy a new build, many times the builder will tell you, oh, you don't need a home inspection. Guys, always get a home inspection. That's how you will know what the heck is wrong with the house. Even if it's brand new, they will cut corners sometimes. It happens. It's better to find out before than after.
Most issues I would say is minor.
Yeah.
But that's only because I know that everything can be fixed.
Yes.
A lot of issues may be time consuming, but they may not be expensive, or may be expensive, but they may not be time consuming.
Yeah.
And those things are more of what say a client or person or someone that's going to move into the property is looking for.
Yeah.
So a lot of times I'll get questions like, Frank, is that a major issue? Or Frank, is that an important issue? Or Frank, is that an expensive issue? And a lot of times it can go either way.
Yeah.
But I don't see it that way because I work with contractors also, and a lot of times I know everything can be fixed.
Right.
It ain't really much in a house that can't be fixed.
Of course.
So actually everything can be fixed.
Right.
So because I know that, it's hard to not see everything as minor.
Yeah.
I'll say it like that.
Of course.
It's really hard. So I'm better it's better if I just explain it a little bit to the client when we get to it, and they kind of take it how they need to take it.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Just right here, we just got a little handle issue. Looks like it's missing completely, or whatever. So that's an obvious one. Well, normally when I inspect the doorway, I'm inspecting quite a bit of everything. Like I said, it's so many things I'm asking myself as I look at everything. As I look at the door, I'm asking a lot of questions from the integrity of the door, from whether or not this is a double pane door. If it was, I would have to check the seal, the insulation on the inside, just to see if it's there, or if it needs work. This door here looks like it needs some wear and tear. I mean, it has some wear and tear. It needs some TLC.
Yeah.
I would check the lock to see if it works. If it's older, as long as it's still working, that's fine.
Yeah.
Adequacy is just how well something works.
Yeah. I'm
not necessarily checking for adequacy, but I will point some things out and to give recommendations in regards to it if I think something is close to its life expectancy and it needs to probably be updated or upgraded at some point in the future.
Makes sense.
All right. But I'm just checking everything, making sure everything they need is here, everything they got here. When I check the door, of course, I'm checking the lock, I'm checking installation, I'm checking how it functions.
Yes.
I'm checking if it's anything unsafe.
Right.
Like I'm checking for everything. I'm checking for the seal, if any moisture can get inside the siding. So if it's a good seal on the outside, because sometimes you can have problems with when the seal gets old and it cracks. When every rain, water start to get behind here, and you can create issues like, all kind of moisture intrusion issues, which some people could consider major.
Right.
If it can be fixed, so I can't see it that way.
That's exactly right.
Just a point, just a quick example of how that works.
Yeah.
Like moisture issues could be looked at as minor, but a contractor come in here and have to do a lot of work to fix the property, fix mold, or clean up something, or repair wood dry rot on the inside. They may consider that as major. So it's kind of hard to tell.
Right.
But just to piggyback on that part.
All right.
Give a quick example. I'm checking the light switches, like, to make sure it works. It's on a little bit of a timer.
Yeah.
But it's working fine. Construction of everything from the hinges. I'm checking to see if there's any potential damage. If it's any door stops for potential damage, things like that.
Yeah.
Which the age of the house does determine. I'm sorry.
Are you coming in or?
I'm going back out and I'm
Oh,
walking
okay.
my way around.
Oh, that
I'm
works.
just checking the doorway.
The door for now.
And I'm gonna go around and check that back door.
All right.
And then, but in the meantime, I'll stay on the outside.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm checking, but each home, the property, that kind of determines how the inspection can be done. So this home was built in the 80s. I have to do my research and knowing which, depending on which decade, how everything was built, or have an idea how it was built. So I have an idea that I can do a better inspection if I'm looking at it from the eyes of how the property was constructed in that particular time.
Mm-hmm.
With that said, certain parameters and certain safety precautions, certain construction precautions, certain standards that they went by, it changed every so often. So you have your smoke and carbon detectors.
Right.
The time that this was constructed, carbon monoxide wasn't required. Now it is. I would want them to put it in here, just minimum 1 per floor. But before we get to that point and I do some of the inside part of the inspection, if they don't have it, that don't mean that it's a defect or problem. You know, so I just explain things like that to them and give them recommendations for the future. When I was older, they did a good job weather treating it over the years. Cause this looks like a lifetime paint. So, and it doesn't look like it's gotten plenty of use from the trees and the weather and the area that the deck is on in the backyard. But it's not in bad condition.
All right.
It's got some issues, of course. But foundation wise, I can't really get underneath to check the boards. Yeah. Which I would like to. If it was a taller deck, I can get underneath to check the boards, check the how it's mounted to the house, how the boards are deteriorating or holding up underneath, things like that. Yeah. To find how it's constructed. Like I got some issues here where it's coming apart on the steps. Yeah. But I'll put that in. But other than that, it's not one of those decks that I would say replace the deck now, or because it's completely unsafe. No, not at all.
So yeah, as you observe some issues, every home has a problem. There's no perfect home. I don't care, even brand new ones. So
one day we do a new build, I'll point out some of the issues in the new build.
All right, sounds good. Sounds good. Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah. So he's finding out, and then you, as the buyer, you can decide what's big or what's not, based on how much it would cost you to repair it. And also, if it's out of your budget, like a roof, for example, he can tell you have a good 5 more years, roughly. Is 5 years enough for you, or do you feel like, wait a second, if I have to change this roof in 5 years, maybe this is not the right price, let me negotiate it, because the roof is a major expense, so I can negotiate the price based on that. But if you feel like, you know, hey, it's okay, the home, I'm getting it for a good price, I'll be ready to change that roof when it comes down to it, that's okay. Or you really want the home and there's a lot of competition, a lot of people are looking at it, you may not be very picky. That's why it depends if it's a buyer's market or seller's market. Because if it's a buyer's market, then you have more options as far as negotiations and, you know, going back to the negotiating table, going back and forth with the sellers. But if it's a seller's market and you start making demands like this, they just move on to the next contract. So it's very important as you get this information to know what kind of market you're in and like how many people are actually interested in that home. Because somebody can come in there freaking gun blazing, just like, hey, let me just go ahead and purchase this home right now. I don't care. I'm going to fix the issues. So the situation really depends and will dictate as a buyer what you're going to end up doing. I'm just giving him a chance to really pay attention to what's going on, and then he can talk to us. So he takes a variety of pictures. So when he's going to write his report, he's not just going to blindly say what's wrong. He's actually going to point it out to the buyers. Hey, this is what I observed. This is what's wrong.
You could clean these gutters out tomorrow, and in a week or two, it'll look like you never touched them. So, especially when you're looking at so many trees surrounding the property, like if there's a tree surrounding the property, there's a couple issues that I try to pay attention when I see trees. One, of course, if a tree is overhanging this roof, it can cause multiple issues. Ironically, an issue with your roof can create issues to your foundation. With that said, I'll make it quick. Gutters are clogged. That can create issues to your foundations. And all of these gutters are clogged, but they're going to clog up even more. Just simply because the leaves fall, the wind, the rain, and it's going to, sometimes branches fall. The roof is not necessarily designed for items to fall on it. It'll hold up, but items to fall on it and sit there because, say, a tree branch or leaves or things of that nature, over time they collect water in a different way as the roof. The roof is designed to shed water and moisture away from the house and off of the roofing materials. So with that said, when you got something that's sitting there and just it's creating an issue to the integrity of the roof in that area a lot of times. But this roof is in good condition so far. Yeah. That part is not a problem. I'm just going to give them some maintenance tips on what I think they should do to keep it that way.
All right.
If a tree is too close to the house, if it's too close to the property, well, so far I'm looking at 10 or 15 feet clearance all the way around the property for trees. As high as a tree grows, it grows that much in the soil. And a lot of times, if it's too close to the house, as it grows in the soil, it'll start to cause problems to the foundation if it was too close to the house. And a lot of those problems can end up being major, and that's coming from the minor major guy. Because it could cause problems that you may not know over a period of time.
Right.
And that those problems could have been going on over a long period of time to once you start to see evidence. So right now we're good here, we have clearance, and that part is not a problem, but just give you an idea of some of the things I look at when I see a lot of trees surrounding a home, especially in the backyard.
All right, sounds good.
Notice up there, you see that cable dish on the roof.
Yes.
Putting your cable dish on the roof causes a lot of issues to the roof in different ways, because that area over time is going to wear down. It's going to cause integrity issues to the area where the bolts go directly into the rafters of the roof. If they did it right, it's kind of like catching the studs when you're mounting a TV or something. You got to catch the studs for better security. Same with the dish. Like they try to catch those rafters for better security. They do it properly. They seal it properly, but over time, that area is going to have issues over time, and in that one area of the roof, probably before the other areas do. Because anytime I see a dish, I'm putting in my report, and I recommend, especially if it's not being used, that it be taken down and patched up.
Okay. Yeah. Sounds good. So guys, that's what he's talking about over there. DirecTV and Dish Network are the two major providers, and most people nowadays just have cable or they just do streaming. So there's less and less of dish of that nature on the roof. The other issue with the roof, sometimes it's like I see clients, they're buying a house and there's like solar panels. Just because you see solar panels on top of the house does not mean the person owns it outright. Sometimes the person could be renting it, sometimes they could be leasing it. It doesn't mean it's already paid off. So if you buy a house with solar panels on it, just remember that you have to always double check, make sure, are you inheriting those things? Are they paid off? And some clients, they'll be like, oh, he's renting it, I don't want to have it removed. And when you remove it, it does damage to the roof. So those are the little things that you have to consider when you're buying a house with solar panels and dishes and satellite dishes as well.
Personal items being in the property affects the inspection to some degree.
Yeah.
If there's a hole in the floor and they have a rug and a carpet in their living room, I'll never be able to see that hole in the floor because I can't move furniture.
That's right.
There's limitations to the inspection.
Right.
I have to stick to the limitations to a certain degree, but I also can go above and beyond based on my judgment.
Makes sense.
Yeah, so so little things like that. I try to do everything I can to get the information on it, but there are still some limitations to what I can do and what I can't.
Makes sense. Yeah, he's not allowed to move furniture. It's an eye inspection. It doesn't mean that visual. It doesn't mean that, being a visual inspection, it doesn't mean that everything has been noticed. It's thorough, but there may be additional issues that
you're not going to know
until you move in. That's exactly right. Yeah. So it's important to, but every home has an issue, of various degree.
But you get a professional in there to kind of give you, to put you want to give someone that to put their professional eyes on there, an inspector in there to put his professional eyes on there to help you make a better choice.
Yeah, makes sense.
At least the initial one.
Yes.
Especially if you only seen the property a couple times, you seen the property on internet, you might have visited once.
Yeah.
You want to get someone else in to represent you to some degree, to put their professional eyes on that property to help you make a better choice as what you about to make a big investment on.
Right. You won't believe how many people actually sell their house and leave everything behind. It's like, man, are you trying to sell this home or what? You walk in there and there's like everything. It limits, the inspection, unfortunately.
Wow. Looks like a little pressure.
Yeah. Just a little, right?
A little bit. Okay, let's see what we got. So a lot of times, pressure not bad at all. There we go. You get a picture.
All right, so that's the water pressure that you're checking right now.
And just from one nozzle, I'm gonna check it throughout the house in different ways.
Yeah.
I'm checking for pressure, I'm checking for leaks, I'm checking for installation, I'm checking for seal, I'm checking for any moisture intrusion evidence that I can see. I'm checking for a few things.
All right.
But so far so good. I thought this was a broken handle and it actually wasn't. It's just the way the nozzle was made.
Okay.
Other than that, now we can go on this side.
All right. So that's the general view of the outdoor. No major issues on the roof except where you have that satellite dish and you have a little bit of erosion. But besides that, we walked around the house and he has not noticed major issues here. All right. Now some of the cracks that you will observe on the driveway here, he'll point out all the things that he sees.
Get some pictures of everything first, and then I do my studying.
Sounds good. All right.
A lot of times people don't get inspections because they don't want to move all the furniture out of the house so it can be done. A thorough inspection can still be done.
Right.
So don't let that hold you up if you think you need one. If you want someone to put some eyes on it, maintenance, any type of maintenance checkup style inspection, because you hadn't had one. So the last one you had was when you first moved into the property and you're not really sure what's going on, but you know you have insurance and appliances under warranty to where if something goes wrong, the inspection can kind of like give you some eyes on it before something goes wrong. So maybe you possibly can avoid those situations.
Exactly. As he's doing that, let me show you. So guys, this is the family room area here, where he's starting by taking his pictures, observation. We saw earlier we handled the front door area was inspected. Now he's checking the closets and all the little thing. He's gonna get into electrical wires and everything like that. All right. And then as you walk in, you have the kitchen here. Nice stainless steel refrigerator. All right. You have an electric stove for five burners here. Granite countertops. All right. They were doing a little bit of cooking here. You have very nice deep sink. All right. And then you have the dishwasher area right here. This is the dining room area here. That's the dining room area.
A lot of times I still take pictures of everything, and if I need those pictures for the report, which a lot of times I wouldn't, because but I'll still go through the motions, even though it looked like I'm kind of moving through fast. Right. That just means I didn't find the issues I find. I got the information I needed on it, and the other information I'm moving on to the next thing.
Okay.
Yeah. The more information that I can get in that report when I'm there, the better.
Yeah.
All right. It helps me when I get home. The cabinets, countertops. I just want to get some. It's kind of granite.
Yeah, granite countertops. Let's see. Making sure that they're open and closed with no problem here. Alright.
Can't get that one. And then a lot of times personal items does limit in areas like this because I'm really not supposed to move stuff around, but I'm trying to be careful as much as possible. Yeah. And they're here, so they're basically allowing me to do as much as I can do. Yeah. Because they wasn't in a position to move their furniture out of the way or anything like that. So we'll make it work.
Sounds good.
Basic stuff, just checking the function of everything. No broken seals, no handle issues, no weight, no damage, like little stuff like this. I'll notate it.
Now, when it comes to like the dishwasher like this, you're gonna be running the dishwasher?
I would try to, as long as it's not items in there. I will absolutely try to run it on the quickest cycle possible. As a matter of fact, there's stuff inside, so that limit the type of inspection. Right. But I still can check for function. I still can check for installation. I still can check for safety things that I'm checking through here, because the dishwasher, most of the time, is connected to the garbage disposal. Right. So they both drain into the same place. Right. So it helps me check everything, the garbage disposal and the dishwasher at the same time. Okay. Yeah, so we good. But what I'm gonna ask them if they'll let me start it anyway, because a lot of times this is and they tell you that it's working, but I can't assume. Right. I am not allowed to assume. Even though I get a lot of assumptions in the house as far as like stuff I can figure out. Yeah. Hot water checks. There you go. Check it for leaks, installation, any safety issues. A good sign that it's not a leak is the fact that they have storage items here. I put that in the report a lot of times where certain areas I can't really see everything because there may be storage items, but I can still check for like stains on the floor or the way the drain is set up, which I'm also checking for the drain to check and make sure it's all set up to a P-trap. Yeah. But so far we're good here.
So far so good.
Yeah. And the water's hot. So that's one of the ways. Each faucet I try to check the water supply, so by the time I get to the hot water heater, I'm checking for everything, installation, how it's constructed, how it's functioning, any leaks. So by the time I get to the hot water heater, I would have done a full a thorough plumbing inspection.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and I let the water run for quite a while.
All right.
That way, if there's any leaks, it would have filtered through the pipes. It's better to do it in the top floor to let the water run, and then check, especially if the hot water heater's in the bottom. That way, you know it would have ran throughout a lot of the piping, so you could check for leaks throughout the house. Because you let the water run long enough, it'll find a leak. The leak will find itself, like I like to say. So right now, I'm gonna check a couple more things here, and we're gonna work our way out to a different room. To either in this case, it'll be upstairs or downstairs, and I'll also check that thermostat, because if I could get that going, by the time I get to the HVAC unit, it'll give me a better inspection. So let's bump up the temperature like one or two.
All right.
Oh man, I don't know how to work this. This is the alarm.
Yeah, that's the alarm.
That's the alarm.
The thermostat. Often you would.
Which is probably a lot of times why you would want to go on a certain order every time. That way you're not all over the place.
Yeah.
But I'm not really all over the place.
Yeah.
Everything is kind of in the same room. Once we on this room, we on the whole middle area, and we got to choose to go up and down. So I'm actually in good shape.
All right.
I'm
Sounds
actually
good.
in good shape.
Now, when it comes to appliances, sometimes you have to talk to the owners about how old, the appliances are, if they have any warranties on it. Many times they will transfer over, right? So you just have to get the information from the person selling the home to make sure that if there's something wrong with this refrigerator and it's still under warranty, that there's the manufacturer warranty, and then you also have additional warranties, home warranties that people pay to take care of their appliances and things of that nature. How do you guys feel about electric stove? Sometimes I feel like gas is better, but it depends. They say the electric cooks more evenly. I don't know. Do you have an opinion about that?
Well,
because they say like the plate, like it's all gonna cook the same, whereas fire is not always gonna be that even. You can control the heat better.
That's very true.
Yeah.
My opinion is whatever you're cooking, if you know how to cook, how you heat it up, it don't matter.
Yeah.
Nah, I just joking. Because you got grill, I'm an air fryer person.
Yeah.
You probably gonna notice a bigger effect on the bill versus how much energy you use in your home via electric or gas. Then you would notice how the food turns.
Yeah.
Like, it's the food, how it heats up is still gonna be based on the person that's cooking.
Right.
Like, I'm saying, no different than the grill, no different than other forms. So inspecting an all electric house or all electric stove versus a gas stove, it just requires a little bit different things that I have to focus on. So it's all because it's getting hot and we can feel the heat.
Yep.
Turn on the fan, because that's one of the things that I turn the fire on to help me check for the fan. It's not venting out of the house, it's recirculating, so it pulls up here and it blows out here, but it also pulls the heat away from the stove, which is what you want, so your smoke detector's not going off all the time.
Right.
But so it's fine. I just want to check to make sure and see if everything's working. Now, but also one of the things I check, because this looks like a newer unit, I check for an anti-tip. When they put in newer systems, newer appliances, specifically a range, one of the safety mechanisms I check for is a anti-tip device. A lot of times when they put it in, I think it's the back mounts of the range. They interlock them to a way where you can't like pull it up, which with a little bit of leverage, a stove range or whatever is easy to pull up, and which kind of tells me that when this is open, if you have a small child, animal or something, if you leave this open and they jump on here and this pushes down, the whole stove is not going to fall on them. The anti-tip is built into it when they installed it, which is a good thing, to stop that from happening. Outside of it being hot and they jump on the stove and they pretty much gonna cook themselves, but it won't fall on them as well.
Right.
They'll just cook themselves. But yes, it's safety mechanisms, things like that. But that doesn't matter. It could be an electric stove or gas stove to put the anti-tip in when they install it.
Yeah.
Another thing I try to check, which I can't move the furniture, is the type of hose. That's the type of hose that they use to connect it. But this is electric and not gas, so that's one of the things I would check on a gas stove versus an electric stove. So as of right now, let's move on.
All right. So here, this is the HVAC unit, right?
HVAC unit, yeah.
Okay.
If you have an unfinished area in the basement, you can get a lot more of your information in that area about the foundation.
Yeah.
So, which they do, so I can check the floorboard. Some of the floorboards, not all of them, because a lot of the area is finished.
Yes.
But some floorboards, that gives me information on the foundation.
Right.
The wall, the base wall, that gives me some information on the foundation.
Okay.
A lot of the unfinished areas on the floor, specifically the direct concrete from the unit.
Right there.
Yeah,
Okay.
sometimes it give me information, a lot of times give me information on the foundation.
Okay.
So it's ways to work around personal items being present.
Okay.
Yeah. Like I can't even get to the back door to check that.
Yeah.
There's no way around it. I'll put in a report to let them know if that area needs to be inspected in the future. I'm available.
Yeah.
But I wasn't able to get to it.
Right.
That's fine.
All right.
Like, there's a lot of things I would want to check, from the weatherproofing to the light to the way the door is constructed to I'm looking at some wear and tear on the wall paneling. I'm gonna put all those things in the report, but being able to get to the door, even it being blocked, which I don't believe it's gonna be blocked as they move in and out. That's just what it is now.
Right.
But the back door being blocked in the basement is a safety issue, fire hazard. Just to begin with.
Right.
But it's not permanently blocked. They just have items in front of it.
Yeah.
Which is weird.
It is what it is. Yeah, it's like.
But I don't. Yeah, but I ain't judging. I'm just being funny.
You know, maybe
they're very friendly, so I'm just being as smooth about it as possible. But
I think it's for security reasons, because
it's got an empty TV box blocking the door.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny more.
But you see that stick right down top.
Oh yeah.
I feel like they did that for security reasons, maybe.
Possibly. Hey, whatever floats your boat. Yeah. Fine. I don't want to expose that much of it. You know. But it does limit the inspection to some degree.
Right.
Just to some degree.
Right. And one thing I do want to point out, guys, is that termite inspection is not part of the home inspection. That's a separate inspection. Yeah.
I will say this to that real quick. That's a separate inspection. Mm-hmm. Separate costs, separate requirements. Doing a home inspection, I will overview some things. And if I see any evidence and I think you need a termite inspection, I will definitely point that out. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times, it's not even needed until I get in there and see.
Right. No
different than lead, no different than mold. All these are different type of inspections. Or radon. These are different type of inspections that's added on to a home inspection that helps. But these informations have their own separate reports. So they are different inspections. Sometimes you can do this, and that, doing one full home inspection, but it's going to be 3 reports in relation to those.
Right. Yeah. And not every inspector is actually licensed for termites and radon and all of that. Sometimes you have to hire a completely different company.
Yeah. I work with a different company for both. I don't do termite. And lead is another specialty that I'll pay attention to. Some of the hazards that I try to stay away from, like mold or termite and things like that, are different type of inspections. Radon, different type of inspections, but I do work with other companies and refer them work at times as we work together.
Sometimes they find so many issues and the people are like, you know what? I'm just not going to be buying this home anymore, you know? And sometimes people are just like, oh, I'm so happy that I did this inspection. Now I know I'm excited to buy the house and, you know, work with it. It depends, you know? But what I've seen generally by experience, like if you find a lot of issues and they're willing to negotiate, instead of having them fix the issue, they usually just do something on the price. They can reduce the cost of the home a little bit so you can fix it yourself instead of them fixing it. Because, you know, everybody has a different taste. If you want them to, you know, change something, it's better you handle that on your own when you're walking and as opposed to someone who's leaving. They usually don't want to do much more, but it really depends. It's something you have to negotiate. Because many times when you first see the house, you're like, oh my God, it's my dream home. It's so beautiful.
You get excited about everything else.
You overlook everything else.
Start pointing stuff out. Oh, wow.
Yeah. And this home is okay. You won't believe it. Some homes got some funky stuff, man. Like I was in Baltimore not long ago, and we were checking a house.
We have somewhat of a safety issue. We point this out that I normally.
But the electricity.
I normally don't run across, but when I see it, I have to point it out.
Yeah.
A lot of times in the 70s and 80s, like I said before, it's important to know when a home was built, so you can have an idea of what the standards and the codes and we're not code inspectors, but we still have to keep up with a lot of that information. But you still have to know the standards and how things were constructed during that time, that decade, those years, because certain things that was just fine at that time is a problem now. With that said, this electrical panel may not have a problem whatsoever. Everything could be working absolutely fine. But as soon as we see a specific type of electrical panel, we are automatically, without even doing any detailed or probed inspection techniques on it. We're supposed to stop, document it, report it, and turn it and report the fact that that particular system is an issue. We have one here. I think Zinsco is an electrical box that creates problems over time. It may have even been a recall, and a lot of times homes don't know until an inspector go in and tell them, hey, this was a recall on this, that needs to be replaced because it's an automatic electrical hazard. It creates shock hazards throughout the house, among a lot of other things. So when we see it, we don't even touch it. I can't speak for no other inspector. I don't, which is why I have these gloves on. For some, giving me some protection for that reason. I wear one glove for that reason. Certain things I touch with this glove, it's got a little bit of a coating on it for minor shock hazard. If I accidentally touch something, I got some protection. Anyway, Zinsco and Stablock are the brands that make electrical boxes that we kind of report to let people know, hey, these need to be replaced. They cause some electrical issues. And as soon as I saw it, that's what made me point it out. So what I'll do is get some pictures of it, put in a report, add it into the safety part, and we're gonna move on from it. Because as far as I'm gonna go with that part of the electrical inspection. But you could take a look at it.
All right.
You can take a look
so it's
at
a specific brand
that's
in particular.
Stablock.
Okay. All right.
That's a Stablock box.
Okay.
Yeah, it needs to be replaced as soon as possible.
Okay.
It's an automatic safety issue.
All right. What is the issue with this? Is that the brand that had a lot of lawsuits?
I don't even know if it was lawsuits. I just know certain things when you're an inspector, you kind of taught, and certain things come from the time that it was added into the codes. It was added into the issues. It was added into some of the protocols that we go by now. And one of the things that doing an electrical inspection is knowing which ones cause hazards, which ones can cause issues. Not saying that it's happening, but certain once they were put in, they start discovering shock issues to where at some point, I think it was a recall, not long after, but it was so many homes that they were put in that a lot of times people didn't necessarily know about the recall. You don't know if it's a recall on this refrigerator unless someone checks it and come in and tell you.
Right.
If you never had an issue with it, then you don't know. But if an inspector goes in and inspect it, he's kind of got to point it out if he knows.
Makes sense.
That's kind of what it's more like that. And because at the time, because of the way things were built, a lot of times those recalls didn't get addressed right away. So they probably still were putting them in houses, building properties with them, building things with them, because they're in commercial buildings also. And until it got to the point where it was like, all right, now we got to go in and report these, because so a lot of them were put in within that time.
Okay. And then guys, you have the bathroom here. That's the basement bathroom. It's a full bath, standing shower here. All right, one sink. All right. And then this is where he's at, checking things out. And then I just want to show you guys the basement here, because we're about to move upstairs. So he's going to check the water heater as well, check if there's any leaks, any other major issues. Some of the things that, as a realtor, I don't know about, and the buyer may not necessarily know about. That's why you get that inspection. You get exposed wire, little things. He will check it out and get back at the end. All right. Wrong size.
Yeah, that's a 25. We need a 22, so it's a little bit too long.
Yeah.
I recommend getting a proper size air filter so it can be
it can fit properly.
So it fit properly, so it can filter the air that they're breathing in properly.
Yeah. All right.
So I'm putting that in. That's one issue that I'm finding here.
All right.
The ductwork can be on the ground. I'd rather not the unit to be on the ground. I'd rather the unit be a certain distance above the ground. But other than that, we're fine.
Is it okay for a water heater to sit on the floor?
I'd rather not the water heater be sitting on the floor. I'd rather the water heater be sitting, if not on... I'd rather the water heater be sitting on some type of drain pan that allows for condensation, and if the water heater ever does, if the emergency TPR does need to work, it has a place to drain. Sometimes they'll have drains in the floor, and the floor will be sloped to the drain, so that way it can drain out on the floor, and that's fine. But that depends on the property. Each property is a little bit different. But I would rather see a drain pan just to be safe. Yeah.
All right.
And that can be on the floor.
Right.
Which I don't see a drain pan here, which we hadn't got to the hot water here.
Right.
It's kind of blocked, but I'll make room to try to get some eyes, to try to get a visual on it.
Okay.
There we go.
All right.
But that's definitely
yeah, you see the water heater sitting on the floor here.
Yep.
But they have panels, and I don't think it's too much. you know, to have one installed in here. But they've been living here for a while. And I see this mark on the wood over here. I think, look, I'm not the inspector, but I think I noticed something. Oh, guys, see this? So I'm gonna point it out to him. There's a leak.
You got some
Like
water
right
dripping?
there, yeah.
Yeah, that's what we're here for.
Yeah.
That's what
You
we're
see
here
that?
for. Yep.
So that water is hitting the floor. And God knows how long it's been leaking like this.
That is the main water line.
Wow.
So yeah. Well, it looks like some water and moisture intrusion here.
Yeah.
I don't see any evidence of. Okay. That'll be something I would inspect, and as I move forward, I'm gonna check for different water damage, moisture damage. I'm going to even check to see for things like mold.
Yeah.
And I can't really point out mold. I can determine if it's some type of growth because of that water and recommend that it be tested for mold. Things like that. So when I see leaks, which is why I run the waters throughout all of the faucets, all of the outlets. Just by the time I get down here, that way by the time I get down here, I would have seen some evidence of some type of effect. If there's a leak, if there's something, I want to get it when I'm here.
Right.
Because who knows how long it was going on.
That's right.
So that's a good point.
Yeah.
And so even my friend Ivan pointed out some things. He was even helping me add value to the report.
That's good. That's good. And one thing about homes, man, you neglect one thing, it just creates another problem.
You don't know it
Then
until that other problem occurs.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, so come to find out, it might be 3 problems, and the one that notices is the last one.
That's right.
So yeah, you kind of having regular maintenance inspections every 6 months to a year is recommended. Yeah. Especially if you're not the one living in the property and you have tenants. If you're renting it out. One of the things I noticed is that the HVAC unit is a little older. If the unit is a certain age, if it's 10, 15, 20 years old, there was a time that inspectors could point out the fact that it's an older unit and I recommend that you change it just because it's an older unit. It could be working fine. Same with the hot water heaters. They could be working fine. They could pass all of the checks that I'm running through and I'm not running across any issues. And still, it could be, if it's a certain age, we can put in, okay, it's past its life expectancy, recommend you budgeting for a replacement at some point in the future.
So some things work longer than they're supposed to, and some things just die before it was supposed to. So we're gonna about to go upstairs, but in the meantime, let me show you guys before he gets there, you know, some of the spaces here. You have the hallway bathroom. All right, you have the hallway bath right here, and it's like,
I don't think anyone's here.
okay, you have a keys room here.
Just rooms and closet. So
Closet.
2 rooms in the closet. I'm gonna get up some pictures, check the windows. And here's my thermostat that I was looking for.
Wow, that thing is ancient, isn't it?
Yeah, you see what I mean? Life expectancy.
Yeah.
I can't point it. I could recommend it, but we're not. It's like saying that the unit's not gonna work as good, and what if it does?
That's right.
I'm not the expert, and I can't predict the future.
Right.
So we're not supposed to try to predict the future.
All right. So you got this room here, big enough for a queen size bed, and you have the view. It looks like they have sealed the windows around here with some kind of plastic. My understanding is that it helps during the winter to keep the house warmer without running your heater too much, right? I don't know if it's true. Guys, let me know in the comments. You know, do you think it's true that those plastic that people put around the windows help? All right. And then you have the closets here. It looks like. I'm not gonna try to open anything. We are almost at the end here, guys. Almost done here. Checking the final moments.
That's what I need to see right there.
Yeah.
Yep. Make sure it's there. Lights working.
All right.
Check those windows. Check the ceilings. Check the walls. Check the doors. Check the floors. Different things. The windows, the outlets, the doors, closets, you name it. But each room I'm checking it. But right now I'm just gonna focus on the bathroom.
Sounds good. All right. And then this is the master bedroom here. Okay. This is the master bedroom. And yeah, they only have one bathroom on this floor, right? So you had the one downstairs, and then you have this one here that's shared. Yeah, so that's gonna be easy to check. But you can see, guys, it's a pretty big room, you know, big enough for a king size bed like they have it set up right now. All right. And then this is a coat closet, linen closet. Alright.
There's a little bit of a slow leak. I'm trying to turn hot water on. Okay. And you see how fast it's rising?
Yeah.
Oh no, it's draining pretty
It's
good.
really pretty good.
It's draining pretty good now.
Yeah.
But when I turned it on, when I put it on full blast, it kind of like rose. And I
runs
turned it
pretty
off
fast.
real quick just
Yeah.
to let it go to sink. So I'm trying to see if there's any leaks when it does that. We got some personal items here, so we're gonna hold off on that part.
Yeah.
And put it in the report, personal items, so which limits some of the things that could be inspected.
That's right. Yeah.
We try to recommend that people get an inspection when in doing the home buying and selling process when the property is empty.
Yes.
Or at minimum staged.
Yes.
But sometimes it don't work
It
out.
doesn't work out,
So
yeah.
we still ways to work around it.
That's right. It just mostly impacts the buyer because you're paying for an inspection, but you're not gonna have as thorough as it could be because people selling and not moving the stuff. It's just, hey, I've even seen when it's like a foreclosure, man, it's like people don't want to move. Oh man,
Furniture everywhere.
everywhere.
Stuff everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to find issues.
Yeah.
So what we got to be creative.
Yeah. It's almost like they do it on purpose, so they don't.
Sometimes they do the block stuff.
Yeah.
To work around that.
That's right. There's personal items everywhere, so he's very limited by what he can actually see. He's checking the windows, making sure that everything is fine.
For seal installation, any water intrusion.
Yeah.
The way they installed it, so water can drain. If there's any flashing, I'm checking for a few things.
Yeah.
I'm checking to see how the locks work. So far they working fine. I don't see any issues. It's older windows, but they still working fine. I just need a little bit of TLC. Same here. Here looks good. Seal issues, installation issues. Let's see if we can get it open. Damaged screen with little damaged screen marks here, which I can kind of point those out when I get outside. Yeah. Looks like it may be some staining here that may need to be tested. Look like some mold stains, but I can't say it's mold. You can't really determine that until after a test.
Yeah.
But it looked like some broken glass here. Broken glass right there on the corner. So they put some of this stuff in the report, and document some of this stuff for the report, and then we'll move on to the next one.
Yeah. All right.
I can't get that window.
No, they have the plastic around it.
Yeah, I can see it, but I don't want to try to move any furniture.
Yeah.
But for ceilings, walls, floors, normally you check as I'm walking. Every step I take, I'm underneath. I'm feeling it for any type of warp, anything that's creating the issue with our step.
Yeah.
Checking for function. Door handles loose, which is common. So now what I'm gonna do is, since we have the attic hatch here, I'm gonna go down and get my equipment and we can check that.
All right.
Each attic is gonna be different, of course, but the attic is kind of like the underside of the roof a lot of times. So the way the attic is constructed, so installation, how everything is put together, any safety issues up there. A lot of things are running through your attic, from your plumbing. Like I said, we just talked about the venting earlier, to the electrical, to different piping. But a lot of the facilities, a lot of times run through your attic also. Checking those things as much as I can get to, as much as I can see. There's also limitations to how much we can get to when we see, how much we can see based on what we get to, should I say. I'm checking for ventilation. A certain size attic gotta have a certain size, certain amount of ventilation. No different than the seal around your windows. It adds efficiency to your house so your appliances can work properly. It's not costing you too much money. Well, it's not costing you more money than the unit is supposed to do. It's costing you however much it's supposed to be, whatever that bill is supposed to be. Attic insulation and efficiency helps with that. the insulation. How much insulation is in there? If there's any issues as far as damage, leaks, moisture problems, construction problems, and how they installed it. Like I'm checking a lot of things, just to name a few. And I'm doing it all as I'm moving. So I may be up there 5 minutes looking around, but when I start running across issues, I'm checking it even harder. I'm checking it even harder.
Right.
You know, but so it all, each one is different and it all depends.
Okay.
So let's see what we got here.
All right. It's a process. You know, I personally advise you, if you're buying a house, come to the home inspection. You don't have to follow the inspector. Some people don't like that. They want to finish the work and then talk to you about it. But you know, if you want to know the home you're buying, you know, it's a big purchase. Now, sometimes people are out of state and make a purchase. I've seen that, sometimes even out of the country. Sometimes an investment property, so they may not be there. But if it's a home you're going to be living in, and if you can, I would strongly advise that you come meet the inspector, ask these questions, because besides inspecting, he can actually tell you how to operate some of the equipment. And not everybody knows how to run everything. You know what I'm saying? Not everybody understands all the different systems if you never owned the house before. So it's extremely important that you make the time available to come and meet the inspector and get familiar with what's going on with the house and find that information. That it will be crucial, because after you sign that contract, man, the house is yours. The house is yours, and there's no going back. You know what I mean? That's it. So this is the last chance for you to basically get as much information as you can, and you're paying for it anyway, and come and check it out. Depending on what's going on and your comfort level, you may learn so much about the house that you're very excited about the purchase, or you may walk away, or you may just feel like, you know, it's normal wear and tear. Let me handle this when I'm moving the house, and that's it, you know. But every home has a problem. Every home has an issue. So are we supposed to be storing things in the attic?
Funny trick question. Now, yes and no. Unless your attic is designed, the flooring of your attic is graded to be a floor, then you can store stuff up there. Most of the time, no. Because then you have people who build the whole attic into a room. And there's ways to do that properly. So it can be done. It's just people do it a lot of times where they don't know what their house provides.
Right.
Like, for example, truss system. Meaning it's the whole attic, the whole roof, the rafter system is designed in a factory to put on top of the house as they constructed this house back in the 80s. With that said, when you're dealing with an engineered roof, engineered attic, truss system, the way they designed it, everything they used to build it, it's the only thing they need for it to work, which means you're not supposed to add anything to that. So once it's finished, you can't store anything. You're not supposed to, because it's adding stress to the truss system, because the truss system is only designed for what it's designed to do. Hold up the roof and add to the foundation to the house to give you a quick overview of what a truss system is designed to do, not hold storage underneath of it. But people do it all the time, and I call it out all the time. If I see storage information, storage items up there, I kind of let them know that's not for storage, so I put it in the report. Let them know they're not put in the report. But yeah, its truss system is not designed for storage. Some, like I said, some roofs, some systems you can make for storage and support it for storage, because then you have sometimes your HVAC unit is in there. So yes, it is, but for the most part, no. A truss system is never really designed for storage. Some circumstances your attic can be for storage. I would say check with a specialist first. Have your get an inspection first to find out. Like, different things can tell you whether you're dealing with that or not. But people don't ask. They buy the house, do what they want, and they just throw stuff on in there for storage. Hey, if it causes issues, which it will over time, then we have a different issue. A different problem.
Overall, it doesn't seem like the house had any major issues. If I was buying it, my biggest concern would be that leak of water in the basement. That would be the biggest thing for me, I think. I don't know if I'm missing something else.
The biggest issue so far that I would say, like I said, it's hard for me to tell, because different issues cause different amount of money, and also different issues take different amount of times to repair. That water look like it's a connection thing, and a plumber can fix that in the matter of an hour or so. That's not something the way something needs to be replaced.
All right.
Yeah, the rail is probably at the point. Any of those rails, the outside handrails or missing rail, it's more safety. Those kind of like need to be repaired and replaced as soon as possible.
Okay.
But for safety, specifically that handrail on the outside of the house is rusted out all through.
Yeah.
So it's not safe at all.
All right.
It's not major, but it's the biggest one that we had. One of the bigger issues we have in this inspection.
Sounds good. All right. there's so much that comes with homes, and every home is different. Every home has its own little thing, and this is just an overview of what a home inspection is like to give you guys a better idea. So it's time to head out and get out of here.
I think everything went well, and we'll see how the report looks.
Absolutely, absolutely. So how long? About 24 hours you said to get it back?
I said this one, I shouldn't have a problem getting this turned over and sent back to him within 24 hours.
Okay.
It depends. Sometimes I need to do a little research as I finish my report, and it may take a little longer than 24, but we try to guarantee 24 hours in every inspection, so we shouldn't have a problem keeping up with that on this one.
Sounds good. I'm not going to talk about costs because I know it depends on the property. But how do people get a hold of you?
Work line is 240-244-9294. Reach out to me via email, homeinspectedby@gmail.com.
Okay.
Simple enough, homeinspectedby@gmail.com. Give me a call, shoot me a message, and I should respond.
And you are licensed in Maryland?
Yes, I am certified and licensed in the DMV area.
All right. Thank you so much for your time. All right. See you next time.
Of course. Thanks again, Ivan.
All right. So guys, you have witnessed the home inspection. There's so much that comes into it. Buying a house, it is the biggest financial decision you will ever make in your lifetime. So in order to protect your investment, it's good to run these to make sure that your property is actually worth what the sellers are telling you. It's important for you to know the issues you will have to deal with, if not now, in the future. And there's only one way to find that out, is to a home inspection. So along these videos, sometimes guys, when we talk about real estate, I will be talking about different parts of the real estate business. I've given you guys a tour of a property that I showed before. If you like this video, check that one right here. But most importantly, do not forget to subscribe, like, and share the video. And I will see you guys on the next one. Thank you for watching Ivaintures, and I'll see you on the next one.